gem from Mickey about to drop a gem. 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 Here comes a gem. Here comes a gem. Here comes a gem from Mickey about to drop a gem. Mickey about to drop a gem. Mickey about to drop a gem. Okay, now listen up.
What's up, guys? It's Mickey, and welcome back to another episode of Blank Canvas. How is my BK fam feeling? I hope you guys are doing well, and if not, I hope it gets a lot better for you sooner rather than later. All right, let's jump into this week's episode. So, I didn't drop one last Monday, but I gave you guys 2 episodes last week, so don't kill me. Please. What I'm really supposed to do is drop the bonus episode and still put out an episode for Monday, but my Monday was shifted, so not sorry. Personal life took precedence and it needed to. So here we are. I missed you guys. I'm ready to talk to you guys, and let's get into it. I don't know what I want to call this or what the topic is going to be, but what I will say is that I feel like a lot of the attacks that I have been up under are absolutely spiritual warfare attacks. Remember I said I was questioning my voice, but that wasn't the only thing that I was questioning. Like, I think the enemy just wanted me to question a lot of things. For instance, just my faith in God or my trust in Him to handle and do certain things. A prime example is I trusted God to reveal to me who my husband was. Point blank, period, without a shadow of a doubt. And I have been speaking that, and life and death is in the tongue. I have been speaking that since I can remember. I was a little girl, and I remember telling people, God will reveal to me who my husband is. Like, He's going to tell me who my husband is. I had more faith in that than I had faith in God to provide. I had more faith in that than I had faith in God to do miracles, signs, and wonders. And I know that a lot of people in the current dating pool are probably like, girl, that's a miracle within itself. Hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, that's a miracle within itself, just for Him to reveal who that shall be. And I think over time, through my own personal experiences and just the enemy getting me to question everything, not only about myself, but even different areas of my faith, I lost faith in that God would, I lost faith in not only my ability to hear Him clearly, but I lost faith that God would take care of that area. I did not trust Him in the way that I did when I was a child. And there's a scripture in the Bible, and I don't currently have mine because I'm recording this on the whim, but there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about having faith like a child. Because, when you're little, it's so easy for kids to believe anything. You can tell them, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. They're going to be like, oh my God, don't make it fall. Or, like the kids with who do the little invisible prank. And you throw the blanket over them. It's like, I can't see you. And we clearly can. And they really think they're invisible. That's how God wants us to trust Him. Like a child, like a little kid. I'm not going to say without questions, because even kids have questions. But it's something about when that child trusts you, whether it's a parent, a grandparent, maybe one of their friends or whatever. When they really trust in you, they trust in what you tell them. They trust in what you show them. It's rare that they kind of veer off from the path. They just kind of take your word for it, okay? Which is why it's also so easy to manipulate kids, and why we try to be very protective over who are the voices in their ears, right? And it's so funny because we can learn a lot from children. Even as adults, we still need to protect who are the voices in our ears, right? And we also need to be like children. I should call this lessons from the babies, or be more like a kid, something. I'm gonna come out with something. But there's so many things that can be learned from a child, just from even the simplest standpoint of when God tells you that's what it is, or He reveals what it is, just trusting in that. And I think, again, from my own personal experiences and just the constant attacks, I feel like I question God. One of my biggest regrets, I will say, is that even though I trusted God to reveal who my husband was, something I used to say, I used to pray for this, not just say it, I used to pray for this. God, please let my husband get it all out before we get married. I never said before he meets me. I never said any of that. And at the time that I was requesting that prayer, I was too young to understand the magnitude and the consequences of my words. I'm literally praying for my husband to be an ungodly man. I'm literally praying for my husband to create covenants, or just because I'm sure God isn't blessing all of them, to literally intertwine his soul with other people. I'm literally the thing that I trusted God in, I actively prayed to destroy, in a sense. I should have never been praying that prayer. My prayer should have been, God, please keep my husband pure. God, please teach my husband discipline. God, please teach my husband to love you more than me, more than his children, more than anything else. So that way he'll have a mindset of pleasing you over his flesh. He'll have a mindset of pleasing you over even me as his wife's will, or just his children or family or friends, or just being influenced by societal standards. Now, if y'all hear some stuff in the background, of all days, of course, there is music being played. And I'm sorry, the word is downloading at the time that it's downloading, so we just got to rock it out. I apologize for the background noise, but I think the Holy Spirit just really wants me to get this out right now, so bear with me. But as I got older and I understood the importance of sex, and I got older and I understood what a true covenant with God and a spouse and everything, I just realized that I was actively working against what I trusted God to give me. And I was cursing my marriage before I even got in it. I was cursing my future husband without him even knowing. Like, I'm so sorry. Whoever you are, I apologize. I have fixed my prayers, and I apologize for any things that I may have spoken over your life because of my lack of wisdom and not full understanding. And not saying that, God had to listen to me and bring it forth. And this isn't on God, because we all have free will and everything. But it just taught me a valuable lesson that if life and death is in the power of the tongue, and, we always talk about manifestation and our thoughts, how we can think something to life, how we can speak something to life. That's one of my, and I don't really have regrets, but I regret the hell out of that prayer, because I think it introduced me to situations and things and counterfeits and things. And it's like I minimized the magnitude of not only just what it would do for my future marriage, but the individual. Like, I feel like I actively participated in speaking a curse over my husband's life. And I'm already failing as a wife. Like, I'm not even a wife yet, and I failed him before I could even begin. So I actively repent for that, and this is conversations that I've had with God on my own. It's just the simple fact of, if I could give anybody else the warning to never pray that prayer, and to figure it out sooner rather than later, get it together. Because again, we all act like we got so much time to live, and I have too many examples of, not only in my life, but people's lives around me, where God has provided provision to fix personal choices that could have changed the trajectory of lives. God has provided grace in so many areas that I myself have taken for granted. I know people around me that have taken for granted. And I just feel like God looks at us like screaming, like, wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up, because I would hate for him to have to show us in the worst way. And he will. He will. It reminds me of when I was reading Job. Monday I was reading Job. Well, yeah. At the time that I'm recording this is, y'all will hear this a week later. But this past Monday, when life was just doing its thing and tried to throw a curveball, I got on my Bible and I was reading Job. And I had started Job already. I've read Job before. But, it's always good to go reread, because I always feel like even if you read something in the Bible, it can teach you new lessons every single time you open it up and read it, if your heart and your spirit and soul is open to it, right? In your mind. So I was in Job and reading, but I paused. It's like I had paused, and I had paused at the part where I had read the friends who were telling Job, this had to be you, da-da-da-da-da. I finally got to the point where Job had finally gave in and started listening to his friends and started being like, God, how dare you, blah, 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 or why me? But there is this friend that no one talks about, and he's younger, and he explains, like, I'm going to let all you go before me, number one, because you are older, and so I would assume, number one, out of respect, but two, just wisdom kind of thing. And he explains to him how sometimes life just happens, and then sometimes we bring stuff upon ourselves. Like the audacity of you to think that you understand why God is doing certain things or allowing certain things, or to think that you don't deserve certain things. It was really, really good. I really wish I had my Chicken Soup for the Soul Bible in front of me, because it was a part that I read. And I just remember crying on Monday a lot while reading it. Like, I mean, crying, and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, it gotta be because of the news that I got or whatever, right? And sure, maybe it was some of that, but I don't even really think, because the news that I got, I surprised myself with the reaction that I had. Like, I was shocked at myself, okay? So I don't think it was just that, but it was something so powerful about the way that a friend responded to Job, because he was so humble in a way, but so direct. Like, I love you, Job, but get it together. I love you, Job, but don't ever think that you know better than God. I love you, Job, but don't ever let life circumstances make you forget who he is. And like, I love you, Job, but don't ever think that sometimes God doesn't have to like shake life up, rock us, put us in situations where we don't want to be in, put us with people we don't want to be with. Unfortunately, bring life into this world that we may not want, simply because we took for granted all the other times. We took for granted all this grace. And please, for people listening, don't limit this to just sex. This can be anything. I see so many times how families break up, and I'd be like, damn, you took for granted that love, whether it's from the wife to the husband or husband to wife, or some people who come from families that really look out for each other, but they may not appreciate it in the same. Now, that's not for everybody, because there are some people who genuinely do appreciate the love and affection that they get, right? But there are some people who may not appreciate having constant support, or having people that you can turn to, or getting to just be a pure child, right? Some people may not appreciate that. Number one, they don't know what it feels like to be on the other side. And number two, it's just like, I have this is my norm. And you can take for granted. I talk about all the time how all of us can take so many things for granted, and we just have to be careful and mindful and aware. But I think we're also distracted by social media and our cell phones and our own desires. Like, I want to be married at this time. I want to be a mom. I want to be this. I want to be that. Like, I want this job. I want this career. I want this acting opportunity. I want this contract for my company. I want to sign this contract because of the signing bonus alone for me. Like, whatever it is, we can become so distracted that we forget not only who blessed us with the opportunity in the first place, but we forget who he is. We start putting human characteristics off of him, or we just take for granted the grace and mercy. Like, the amount of times God has saved me and spared me from stuff I absolutely positively deserved. Man, what? I shouldn't be here. Man, what? I shouldn't even have the opportunity to still decide to make certain life decisions. Like, what? The fact that I even still have a voice that like works, man, what? The fact that I have my sanity, the fact that I didn't try to off my own life with when I literally have felt like at some of my lowest of lowest points. What? It was nothing but God that saved me. Because even the human beings that he sent to cover me and help me, they were sent by God. They were graced to be able to handle me. They were graced to not judge me. Like, what? And so I think not only had the enemy begun trying to get me to question my voice, but I was also just, I could feel my desire for marriage and children just like slowly dying again. And if you're new here, I've talked about this before, but it got to the point where I've said it on BK before, but I've never actively said it to like other people in my life, except for probably like one. And I remember it was somebody and they were talking to me and they were like, yeah, I'm not really looking. And I told them, I was like, I know for a fact I'm done. And they were like, you're done? And I was like, yeah, I know for a fact like I'm done. Like, I've made up my mind. I no longer desire to be a wife. I was already questioning motherhood, and I damn sure ain't try to be a single mom because raising kids is a lot, whether you're married or not. So I don't want to actively do it by myself. I don't love no child that much to want to sign up for parenthood and do it alone, solo dolo. I don't have a desire to be a mother that much to ever want to do it alone. And it's hard. Like, even marriages take villages. It is hard to raise children. It is hard to lead them in the right ways. It's hard, right? But I don't desire that much to ever want to do it alone. So if I'm not married, I know accidents shoulda, coulda, woulda, but more than likely, hopefully, a kid wouldn't be coming for me if I'm not married. And that's not saying it can't come before marriage, but because anything can happen. But I just don't actively have that desire enough to be a mom and so forth and so on. But a wife, to lose that desire sucks and is scary. And I just think from my own personal experience, I've had too many people that I've chosen to expose myself to, no pun intended, that and again, get your mind out the gutters. This is way past sex. When I say expose myself, I mean the intimacy of knowing how I truly feel. I think a lot of people take for granted when there are people in my life all the time that beg me, like, how are you feeling? What's going on? Like, you know what I mean? And I never try to take that for granted, that there are people that care enough to ask me. I truly appreciate that. But for the people that get to know, whether it's good or bad, whether it involves them or not, I think sometimes people take that for granted, to know me at that intimate level, way deeper than the things that I share on here. I think sometimes people also take for granted the kind of love that I put out. And I hate the fact, and I don't know if we've all been here, but I know a lot of you probably listen to me have been here before, that when you get in certain situations, you don't want to share that kind of love again. You don't want to open up like that again. You don't. I think for me, I know Jesus is the safest of safest places, but I am human and I have human desires. And so I think to lose this, I've now experienced twice in different forms of losing my safe place. And I no longer want to give anybody the opportunity to be my safe place just for that to be taken away. But whether it be life, whether it be circumstances, whether it be personal changes or whatever. And I can't remember the exact timeline, but I was either in middle school or high school when I remember the feeling of losing that safe space. And then I think I felt it a little last year with my other one. But I'm definitely feeling it a lot currently, that I've lost that one too. And it sucks. It sucks and it's scary and it's it's just heartbreaking, because I don't think there'll ever be another soul to know me at the depths that I allowed some people to know me. And I feel like they took that for granted. They stomped on that. They didn't care. And they were like, nice knowing you. Nice knowing you, right? That's what it feels like. I can never speak on someone else's behalf. I'll just say how it makes me feel. And I think to lose that safe space is just like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I don't, no new friends. I no longer have desire for marriage. So motherhood is out the window. And my mom always tells me never curse my womb. And I'm not trying to curse my womb. And God forbid if I actually do get the desire to be a mother again, what that would even mean or what that would do. But I pray it doesn't hinder me. But I just have to be honest about where I am in life. And so then it becomes, if you don't want these things and you don't want new people and you're that closed off, what are you here for? And then I think, in this life, am I only here to serve other people? Am I only here so people can love me and then dump me? Love me and then leave me? Love me, but then consistently remind me in some form how I'm good but not good enough, or you know what I mean? Like, and I know that there are things and people that are seasonal and temporary. That's not my problem. I just think the wasting time doing deep investments into people and not having a proper return on investment is annoying. Okay? And I mean, that's the risk you take. Love is a risk, but I think I'm over the risk of love already. Like, I'm over it. I'm over it. Because I know and I can see what it feels like when somebody truly desires you, when you don't feel like a burden, when you're around them. Like, they actively want to talk to you, they actively want to see you. It breaks their heart when your heart is broken, like things of that nature, right? So all these things I've taken into account, but I do feel like even with that, that's a spiritual warfare attack, because if I no longer desire to be a wife and a mother, whatever God is trying to get into this earth through my family will not happen. Whatever he wants to see in that godly marriage will not happen, because I no longer have that desire. So I'm not going to try to make that happen. I'm not going to try to bring that piece of heaven down here on earth, right? And so God is either going to have to get whatever he wanted to get through me and my spouse, and if we had children, he's going to have to give it to somebody else. And as I say that, the pain that I feel in my chest is ridiculous. And that's how I know it's a spiritual warfare attack. But I kind of want you guys to hear raw and honestly how it sounds. So if you are struggling with these things, you'll know you're not alone, and it'll kind of make sense. Like, oh, okay, my mind isn't just going crazy. I'm under a spiritual attack, right? So I think the enemy takes time to wear you down. And I think I've been weighed and worn down for a minute in so many different areas of my life. And I think that's why I find myself more often than not now crying, even when I don't necessarily, I'm like, where is this cry even coming from? I think I just have a built up because I've had to be so strong for everyone else around me, or I've had to I may not have had the proper outlets to talk about certain things that I really need to talk about. And is it best to take it to God? Absolutely, because you don't need too many opinions anyways. It's not like I want the world's opinion, but it's also not good for me to be alone. And so look at the spiritual warfare attack. If I say I don't want kids, no new friends, and I no longer have a desire for marriage, it's not just what God isn't going to get in this earth. It's also, I will be alone. I will be isolated. I will be so vulnerable for the enemy to attack me that it's going to be crazy. Also, there's two things. I could either be very vulnerable for him to attack me, or he's going to be like, I don't even have to attack you anymore. I've done my job. I've worn you down to the point where the enemy only takes time to come after and to destroy people who are not only on God's team, but who are actively like working, seeking, in participating in the kingdom. And when I say kingdom, I mean God's kingdom, not another one, God's kingdom, right? And everything that we do on the earth is the opposite of kingdom behavior. So when everybody's like sleep around with whatever, my prayer, I hope he gets it all out. That's not God. There are so many consequences that come from that: STDs, unwanted pregnancies, anything, maybe killing babies. I hate to say it like that, abortions. For people who be like, oh my God, you murderer. Leave women alone. Let them make the best decision for themselves, okay? You are new here. I'm not with that shit. Let women make the decision that they need for themselves. And for whatever reason, let them take it up with God, okay? Nobody needs you to be a Pharisee and over here condemning them, and you know what I mean? Leave them be. And I feel like not just with the subject of abortion, but with a lot of things, I feel like we don't show empathy and compassion to each other. We're just kind of like, you're fucked up, get it together. And so I be trying to, like, if I do share certain things or if God reveals certain things, I really try to do it from a place of love, because I would never want anybody to feel condemnation. I just don't want people to have to learn the hard way. Or like I always say, guys, don't waste your time. Like, if there are some things that lessons that you can learn from me that can save some time, do it. Something that I was going to talk about, I left you guys on a cliffhanger. This is what I was going to say, and I'm going to make this quick because this episode is getting a lot longer than I thought. I was talking about, this is part of Spiritual Warfare too. There was this guy on the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Can't think of his name. I knew his like active words from like YouTube and all that kind of stuff, right? Fast forward to, he came back on with his wife. And I was like, okay, so we're jumping to that interview, right? He was very active and okay with being single and following God's mission. He talked about how his graceful single season was up. I need the men who listen to BK, if there are any, I need you guys to listen up. And women who are listening to me, I want you to share this message with men in your lives, whether they are young or old. Even if they are young, share it sooner. The sooner the better, so they can be more prepared for it. When you, number one, he who finds a wife finds favor and obtains favor from the Lord, right? There are so many men who think they have to have it all together, but what you think that you're struggling to accomplish by yourself, when you find your God-given spouse, baby, the sprints that people take, the marathons that they start running, and you don't even get fatigued because you're with your God-given partner, or if you do get fatigued, you guys can like set your eyes back on God and take that little water break on the sideline and get back in that marathon. I promise you don't have to have it all together. That's a lie and the trick of the enemy, right? Because if we were supposed to be perfect, would we really need each other? No, it's not how God works. He's the only perfect one. Secondly, the thing that I would say is, men, listen up. Besides just that, he talked about how a lot of men, he couldn't understand that when they did find the one, that they would pull back, or even if they had options, they would pull back. And the reason he said he himself even questioned, he was like, oh, to be in a relationship, I like my space, I like my alone time, I like moving at my own will, I like kind of just doing my own thing. I don't know why men think they're the only ones like that. Women, we like that too, just more often than not, society isn't built for us to have that luxury. Okay, just saying. However, he discussed that, and it made so much sense, and I just wish so many men could hear it, or that they had other godly men around them, or that men would just talk to each other. Like, bro, the streets, they all tell each other the streets ain't shit, but then they constantly encourage each other to stay in the streets. I wish the ones in relationship would share, this is what it's like. Is it perfect? No. Are there some aspects I miss? Sure, I may miss waking up alone or something. Or maybe not. Maybe I realized that all the lies that I was told of how miserable it was going to be, how I can't do this, how I can't do that. Maybe I actually enjoy being with my girl. Maybe I actually enjoy building a life with somebody. It's not good for man to be alone. And that does not mean literally just a man with a penis. Women, it is not good for man to be alone, right? We aren't supposed to be alone either. I just wish more men could talk to other men versus encouraging them that the only thing that men are good for is providing financially and stuff. You can offer security with money, but you can't offer security emotionally. You can offer security and provide with that, but you're not disciplined. but everything that you give to yourself and to people who are supposed to be special in life, you give them that same level of access to everybody else. Like, I wish people understood that it was levels to things, and I just learned over time that most people don't, and that's okay. Another thing that I will say for men, Pastor Travis Green, he talked about this. Him and his wife literally did like a couple of videos, blah blah blah. Fast forward, they were doing like couple stuff, right? And he talked about how he told his current wife, Dr. Jackie, shout out to the Greens, beautiful pastors and couple. Basically, short version, told her like, hey, he told her, there are about 3 girls that I'm thinking, there's a couple of different girls, I don't remember exactly 3, I don't want to lie on him, but there were a couple of girls that he was thinking could be the one or whatever. And I just want to let you know. And his current wife told him, well, if you're unsure about me, or if you're sure about 3, then you're not sure. And so don't worry about me. And fast forward, he goes and he tells his friend, he was like, yeah, I mean, I told her or whatever that there's a couple of girls that I could possibly see this with. The amount of times I've heard men say stuff like that is crazy. That I can possibly see this with. And this is another male speaking to him, which is why I think, men, I really wish y'all would start talking to each other and being honest with each other, because y'all probably gonna listen to another man before y'all listen to us, and that's just a fact. But or feel safe enough, because maybe we don't even make you feel safe enough. That's a possibility too. But Dr. Travis Green went to another male friend, and he said the same thing he told to his current wife, like, hey, and they weren't married at the time, said like, hey, I think God is calling me out of my single season. Again, another man saying that the grace for that is up. I can feel it. I know, like, he's like, hey, this single life, you're done with this. Like, it's time to elevate higher, right? Again, which is why it's so important to not just follow men of the world, but men of the word and men who follow God, because everybody act like it's only non-believers who struggle with that. It's believers who have the same thing. They like their own space. They could possibly see it with a future with multiple girls. They need clarity and guidance, just like we as women need clarity and guidance. But where are the voices that you're listening to? Where are you getting your guidance from? That's important. So anyways, fast forward, he tells the guy the same thing, and the guy says, it's not about who you could see yourself building a life with. It's the one who you can't live without. Pause. Do I need to run that shit back one more time? Because that was a word for me alone. And he wasn't even talking to me. Okay? At the time. He was talking to me when I watched the video. But, that friend told Pastor Travis Green, it is not the one that you could see yourself building a life with. It is the one that you cannot see your life without. He said that was all he needed to hear. And he immediately went to his wife. He said it was like a scene out of a movie. Y'all gotta watch him talk about it. It is hilarious. It was like a scene out of a movie. And he went and he told his wife, he said, that's easy. That's Jackie. Yeah, sure, there were Jackie and a couple other ones that I could have possibly seen building a life with. But the one who I can't live without, the one, like, no matter what happens, no matter how we have to tweak it, as long as you don't go anywhere, that's the one. That's the one. And it's so simple, but yet people make it so complicated. And that's for the men. That's for the men, okay? I feel like women will be blessed with that last one too. Like, women, if you're like, this guy's great, this guy's great, this guy's great, that's fine. If we wanted to match people on paper, people do that all the time. It's called arranged marriages, okay? If we wanted to match people on paper, or it's called having a list, because sometimes you can get somebody to meet your list, but that's not your God-given partner. I'm just saying, if you are in that position, right? That can bless you as a female too. It's the one you can't live without. Like, no shit, Charlotte. I'll go through hell and high water, but you don't need to be out of my life. You don't need to leave me. You are the one that I want to try to figure this out and get it right with. That's the person you build the life with. That's the person you continuously put in the effort with. That's the person that you try to learn how to love properly. That's the person who you you go to God about. I mean, go to God about everybody, right? But that's the one you be like, God, show me how to love them. Show me how to handle this. Show me how to properly treat your daughter or son. That's it. Now listen, y'all probably not going to listen to me, which is why I highly encourage the men to go talk to other men. But other men, I need y'all to be honest. I need you to be honest about the consequences of remaining in the streets for too long. The consequence, you can be there for a short time, okay? And get consequences that can last you a lifetime. So listen, please be honest. And the ones that are happy, y'all got to get out of just seeing just one set of group. Like, you need to also see and deal with friends that are in relationships, healthy relationships, not toxic relationships. You need to spend a little more time around them. You need to get around them so you can have exposure. If you constantly around only the ones who are doing behavior that's going to keep you further away from God, just like they think it's normal, you're going to think it's normal, and you're not going to think anything of it. And before you know it, you're going to look up and you've created a life that has separated you from your purpose, that has separated you from God, and that has separated you from everything that he wanted to bless you with. Because why would he bless you with a wife and he can't trust you with his daughters now? Why would he bless you with a family and he can't trust you to be disciplined now? Like, let's be for real. Like, what? I see how you mishandle my daughter now. I'm damn sure not giving you one that is supposed to bless you tenfold, give you favor. Same way for ladies. Us too. Why would he bless us with husbands and we want to do them dirty now? Why would he bless us with husbands and we don't want to learn how to love them properly now? Do not despise small beginnings. They train you to get you ready for the bigger ones. And that's all I got, because I'm getting long, and where I am, I got to cut my time short anyways. So I hope this is helpful. I love you guys. Spiritual warfare attacks are real. Those are some examples from me. But in the end, we're also real men who believe in God and talking about the spiritual warfare attacks that come when it is time to level up, when the grace for that season is up. Or even with people like the one I was talking about the first time. He loved his wife. The very first one that I was talking about, well, first of all, both of them love their wives. But the very first example that I used, that man said he finally understood, why man questioning. He loved his space and everything. God sent him one. The way he described that woman, it should be a no-brainer. And he still had to go through different trials, and he tried to push her away and everything. And it got hard for her, because it's like, this can't be it, God. This can't be what it's supposed to feel like. But God will grace the people who are meant to handle you and love you through your seasons, whether good, bad, the ups and downs. And he'll grace them for that. Okay? And he'll send you people that's graced to handle you too. All right, he ain't one-sided. He loves us. And he will send us the people that we need in every area. Supplication, we talk about that all the time. All right, guys. So I love you guys. I can't wait to see what we talk about next time. All right. Bye.
But we gon' talk about something on the mental, on the mind, weighing heavy. Society with the levies, kinda deadly. Silent killer, hard to daddy. Most killers had no daddy. Sadly, that's just what it be in my community. We got no unity. Dark skin wanna ruin me. I'm speaking fluently, so just listen. Blank canvas, blank canvas.